Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is the feeding manners. So the difference with prep compared to what we used to do before is that we're not going to use the whistle anymore. All we're going to do is we've got the food in the bowl, and the thing that we want from the puppy is stillness. What we want is the forefeet on the floor and mouth shut, so the dog isn't yapping and barking up at you, and the dog isn't springing up at you, jumping up. Similar to the whistle, we are going to work at the dog's own pace. We don't have to get the food to the floor on the first attempt. Rather than the whistle, the change what we do now, the release cue we're going to use is okay. So when we get to a certain stage of height of the bowl, we're going to say okay, and as soon as we have said okay, the dog then can move. We have given the dog permission to move. So initially, you've got the bowl at your chest height, and all we want from the dog is stillness and calmness. It doesn't matter if they're in a stand or a sit or a down. Obviously, most of them go into a default sit. And all we're going to do is we're literally going to feed from the bowl. And then gradually, you don't need to be saying anything as you're doing it. And you're just getting the bowl lower and lower. If by chance the pup moved towards the bowl, so say Lottie went towards the bowl now, you just lift it back up and that's it. When we get to a certain height, where we think if we get this bowl any lower, the dog is going to move, say okay at that height and just lower the bowl to the floor. So say for instance with a pup, especially in the first week or so, you're probably going to struggle to get past waist height before the pup moves. So you're just feeding the pup, you're getting lower and lower and lower. And then if you think the pup is going to move now, all you say is okay and lower it to the floor. As soon as you've said okay, like I said, the pup can move. It doesn't matter after you've said that. So, okay, good girl. So again, if you do get it all the way to the floor, all you're doing is feeding. So for instance, now Lottie's in a stand, I would accept that. That's no problem. And you can see the rate of treats I'm giving her is really quick. And I'm getting all the way to the floor. And then you get to the floor, okay. And the first time you put it on the floor, the second that bowl touches... sorry, Daisy.
Daisy says it's my bowl, that.
Dutch is eating it now as well. So remember, the first time you do get the bowl to the floor, the second the bowl touches the floor, okay. And then you can build that up in the future to then having the bowl on the floor for a couple of seconds and then saying, okay. Secondly, the other exercise we're just going to do is the recall game. Again, sorry, this is a bit messy with the 3 dogs. So you're going to have the treats in your hand or in your pocket. And the recall command that we use now, again, initially we're not going to use the whistle for recall either. The recall command is your dog's name and come. So I'm going to say, Lottie, come. And their dog should instinctively know that means food. Very similar to when they hear the whistle, they mean that means food. So when we're first building it up with a puppy, again, we want to make it easy for them. And literally, it's as simple as when the pup is already next to you, looking at you. So, such as Lottie here, just say, Lottie, come. And you can see she just responds to me. We're not doing a hand touch or anything. And again, it's like, let's wait for it to finish. Lottie, come. And she's focusing on me. And it's that simple at the start. You can then bring in a little bit of a, Lottie, come. And if they orientate towards you, fantastic. Again, at this stage, we're not doing a hand touch. So I'm already asking her to come when she's looking at me. So I'm making it so easy for her. Nice and high-pitched voice, nice and excited. Lottie, come. Once you're doing that consistently, you can move around a little bit. So I can just move over here. And she's already orientating towards me. Lottie, come. Once you have got that, so basically the pup is already orientating towards you and we're asking them, that's when you can make it a little bit harder for them. So say for instance, if their attention was elsewhere, that it isn't. So say for instance they were having a sniff at the door and their eyes and their attention physically aren't on you, then you do the same thing. So Joy's just going to try and get her attention over there.
Lottie, she says she got food and that's her.
You couldn't.
Lottie!
Over there, look, over there. So she'd done that. Lottie, come! And you see, there you go. So you can see with Lottie, she's like, I know exactly what that means. Once you've done that, you can play a couple of games, such as, I'm not really prepared. If you've got a snuffle mat or something like that, I'm just going to pretend this bowl isn't that. Drop 2 or 3 treats in, and when the pup has finished the last treat and are just sniffing and sensing, call them away from it. So we're not calling them away when they're physically eating, because that's a little bit too hard. But when they're kind of sensing and snuffling around. So say for instance, Lottie's going to have those 3. I'm just watching her. She's going to get that, and then she'll be sniffing for more. Lottie, come! And she comes away from it. And what this is doing is obviously out and about on a free run. Initially, we're going to call the dog when they're just in and around us, but then obviously the idea is when they're going to be distracted with a scent, when they're going to be distracted with a person, when they're going to be distracted with a dog, we need to build it up, building up them being called away from a distraction. But initially, all you want is that rock solid response. Dog's name, come, and they come running in. You can then start practicing it when the dog's in a different room, or they're in the garden, or anything. And what's really important to remember as well with that is every single time that you call the pup with that command, so dog's name and come, they get a treat every single time. And I think that's it. Any questions, give me a shout. Thanks.